Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela Wilkes with Liberty Counsel. I'm here with Jonathan Alexander, Senior Counsel for Governmental Affairs. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so on October 31st, at the invitation of the Yale University Political Union, which is the oldest existing political union in the country, you debated on the resolution "In God We Trust." Can you kind of tell me a little bit about how you got this invite and a little more on your debate there at Yale?
Certainly, there's a coalition of Ivy Leaguers that meet in Washington, D.C. Every couple of months or so, and I was invited to speak at a gathering that they were having at the Museum of the Bible. I spoke there, and one of the students, who's actually, I think, one of the vice chairmen at the Yale Political Union, invited me to come to a debate, and it went over a number of different scheduled and canceled dates. They have a debate, I think, every month or so. And so it just worked out that this was the date that I was going to be able to be available for it. So we knew this a couple of months ahead of time, but didn't know until a week before what the topic was going to be. And so they settled on the topic, "In God We Trust." That was the resolution. And I was the only person arguing in favor of it.
It's so interesting to know too that you had people arguing against it. Kind of tell us, like, what made this debate so impactful for you? Who was in attendance that vocally you could tell were coming against what you were debating?
Yeah, certainly. So as soon as they read my bio, individuals started hissing. So instead of booing, they were hissing at the name Liberty Counsel and other pro-family, pro-life organizations that I've worked for in the past. As soon as they got to those names in my bio as well, they were hissing, making it very clear that they were in opposition to what I was saying. And so it was hard to weigh the amount of hisses versus affirmative sort of statements. But I could tell it was a rather hostile audience that I was speaking to. And the questions, I fielded about 10 questions after I gave my opening remarks, and they varied. But generally, I could tell that at least after the opening remarks, folks were more intrigued than they were hostile. But as soon as we started, yeah, it was very clear that this was going to be sort of a hostile environment.
Yeah, I can't believe the hissing reaction. I don't know how I'd be able to come back from that. Going into kind of your debate, in summary, what was the main point of your debate? Why would should we keep "In God We Trust" as the motto for America?
Yeah, I think the turning point of the debate, certainly at the point that I saw faces sort of be more intrigued and concerned as to what I was actually saying and want or allowed them to be invited to my argument. That turning point happened when I read from Psalm chapter 20. It's a verse that says, "Some trust in horses, others trust in chariots, but we will trust in the name of our God." And I sort of laid out, like, America has the ability to trust in our military. It's the most formidable in the world. We can trust in our dollar. You know, the credit worthiness of our dollar kind of bolsters the entire world economy to a certain extent. So we can trust in those things, but we decided to make our trust in God something that's more than just an inanimate dollar, something that's more than just might making right. We've ascended to something higher than ourselves, and it's written throughout our history that whenever we've made the commitment to something, whenever we've had the option to pick what we will trust in, that we've decided to trust in our God. And as soon as I made that argument, I started to see folks be a little bit more receptive to what I had to say.
That's so powerful. Did you have any interesting encounters with people after the debate that personally came up to you?
Yeah, it was encouraging. So two of the people that were speaking against the resolution, so speaking against my argument, came up afterwards, and we had great conversations. The percentage that I won the debate by was 77 to 23. So a huge majority of the individuals, when asked, said that I actually won the debate, and even individuals that were in opposition came up afterwards, and we had great conversations. I was very welcomed, I thought, by the political union, and it's credence to the institution itself having, the oldest deliberative body still within a college campus of that nature. So they were quite receptive and accommodating to their guests, and so I did appreciate the time there, but was more encouraged by the ultimate response, the fact that we started off with a hostile audience, but even towards the end, people realized that if America is going to turn their trust towards anything, that it ought to be God.
Absolutely. Amen. Is there any other thoughts you'd like to share about this debate and this experience walking away from it?
Well, it was encouraging. Certainly, the invitation. I think that political union has invited folks like Noam Chomsky or John Kerry. So it was sort of high profile. It was not recorded, and they do so in order to keep the free fluidity of conversation, so that folks are free to talk about things without being on record. So it was overall an encouraging time. We had a moment during dinner right before the debate where students are asking a ton of different questions about legal issues and religious liberty issues. But finally, someone asked the pointed question, which is the question that I loved answering the most. Are you a person of faith, and how did you become a person of faith? So
Wow.
being able to share my testimony, my walk with Christ, but his salvation story and his plan of a free gift of salvation that he offers to all of us, that was encouraging. Be able to share the gospel openly and freely there to students that were receptive to it just is a reminder that we should continue to engage, even though these college campuses seem hostile. It seems that places that Christians may have abdicated, that's still where God's light, where Christ's light can shine through the brightest. So we ought to continue to engage on our college campuses.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for just that encouragement. Thank you for standing truth. Despite the reaction that you first initially got, you pushed through and you ultimately won the debate, but also how cool that you had that opportunity to share your faith. And that's really what it's all about. So thank you, Jonathan. So appreciate what you're doing on behalf of Liberty Counsel Action.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.